We've made 14 short films in the last 3 months, and I wanted to break down how we made one of them. I enjoy these types of videos, so I hope you would also. How did you come up with this idea?
Well, the long story or the short story? Well, I came up with it because we were gonna go to Santa Barbara for brunch. It was technically supposed to be for our anniversary. And I was like, I wanna go to Santa Barbara for the day. And you were like, I was just out of town. I feel like I should work. We should shoot something. And I was like,
welcome to being married to a creative individual and a hardworking entrepreneur who's like, I'm not allowed to vacation. I want a vacation. I'm not allowed to vacation.
I haven't deserved it.
I haven't deserved a vacation.
Right. So you were doing that. And I was like, okay, what could we shoot like at our house on the way to Santa Barbara in Santa Barbara while also getting brunch? I came up with this like super vague idea of starts at the house and we get a few shots and I'm like sneaking out of the house and then driving up to Santa Barbara and it can be, I don't know, I get emotional and I cry at some point in there and then like the beach and whatever. It was like a very like whatever idea. And this was before we shot any of the 14 short films. Then we ended up not shooting it and not going to Santa Barbara because we were so cool.
We ended up doing nothing for our anniversary that year.
No, we did go to brunch.
We did?
Yeah, it just wasn't in Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we were making other short films and it was just sort of like...
Well, I remember it was like, okay, we needed like, we shot another 4 of them. We had, and then we're like, okay, we're like, what are we doing next? And you're like, oh yeah, I had this idea for this short film.
Oh yeah, and the whole thing was like, it was something that we could film just you and me.
Yeah,
and that was like the
super
simplicity
easy, needed
of it.
no crew, needed no cast.
Yeah, intentionally, like there was no dialogue to just like keep it simple on mics and everything. So it was very low lift short film. So that was sort of the premise. So then we came back to it because we were like, okay, we have a weekend or a day or whatever it was, and
we started shooting it on a Saturday morning.
Right.
So we just said, kind of screw it, and let's just shoot it. We'll see what happens. And then we started shooting it, and
Well, no, I want to back up a little bit more because I had like this very like slow. I mean, this just goes to show you like how collaborative film is as an art, and how you shouldn't resist it because it can really just make it better. So I had this like vague idea, and there was a little bit of like, this is almost like a domestic, like, because it was like she's getting out of, like, sneaking out of bed and you see a guy and then it's like, okay, like, did she sleep with him? Like, what's the story here? And she like gets dressed and sneaks out of there and it's like, okay, is she cheating? Is she running away from him? I don't know. It had like vibes of like, I'm like, is this like a domestic abuse message? Like, not to say I'm against that message, but I can't say that I'm like, I want to make a short film about this. So it kind of had that vibe and I didn't think it was going to be that good. And you had a different perspective based off how you wanted to film it and what.
Well, I just want to make action movies. So at the end of the day, I just want to make action movies. And I was like, oh, what we could do is it being a little bit more intense, where we see her kind of getting out of the house. It's quiet. She's sneaking out. And then when she gets out, it's this kind of high-speed chase. And I was like, oh, we could do it Jason Bourne style.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's a little bit more, have a lot of intensity, more handheld. So the whole beginning is very on sticks, very smooth, very quiet, sneaking, and then it becomes a high frenetic energy.
Yeah. So that already got me like super excited because I was like, oh my God, I didn't envision what this could be and like minor stunts, and I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be so fun. So then we started shooting, just the two of us, and that's what it was gonna be.
Yeah, and then as we kept going, as we started doing the stunts then, I figured out basically, it was like, oh, what if we ended it like this? Which is the ending that you see in the film. And she was...
It's the commentary, it's like the commentary on it, we're just gonna give it away or no? I feel like we have to give it away and just
So we had, spoiler alerts ahead. I had the idea, I was like, what if you see at the end, he comes right in frame. We see that she's gone to the beach, she's escaped, she's got away from this man. But what if we see at the very end, he walks into the frame and holding a rope? And it was kind of like, boom, 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 boom. And she went, oh my God, I didn't even realize we could go there with that.
Yeah.
And it became a whole different taste of a film from where it was like, oh, it's kind of this more slow, dramatic piece to this, you know, kind of action-y thriller dramatic thriller type piece.
We actually had that idea right before we started filming the action stuff, which was great because then we were like, it added this other layer for me as an actor in terms of like, okay, if this is the type of person that would do that, then like, what should my energy be as I get out the door and like,
and the whole like
and getting
the
away.
crying scene of pulling over.
Yeah.
So we were able to shoot basically all of it at our house, and then we shot the other stuff just on Malibu Canyon, down Canaan, and then just at Zuma.
Yeah.
And so we shot it over 2 different mornings.
Oh yeah, and it was right when the time changed. So there was an hour less time that day for sunset, and we didn't realize that. So we're going along, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, there's no time to go to the beach today.
Yeah.
We can't get sunset.
And I kind of wanted sunrise anyways. Well, that was actually more of the actual issue, was that we woke up and both were like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed yet. It's the one thing with when you make these films for yourself is that, you know, no one's paying you, so you're like, it's on your own schedule, and you have to have your own self-discipline to really push through it. But
no one's mad if you're late for
yeah,
time.
and it's just the 2 of us, so we missed sunrise because that's what we were going to grab as the ending first, and then work our way backwards. But then
But
we
thank
didn't.
God we didn't.
Exactly. So it kind of was a happy accident that we didn't. So we then spent the next day, went down to Malibu, shot in the morning, and
We had to get up super early because
Yeah,
I figure
so we
with
had
the
to-
time change, sunrise was like 5:30.
something like that. It was
Yeah.
so we got up super early and shot the rest of it, and then
But I also had to match hair and makeup, and I'm not a morning person. Like, I am not the 4 a.m. crowd. So I like did my hair the night before and like tried to fix it up in the morning. Or I don't know. I mean, it was okay because it loosened up some from like curling it, so it was probably like matched pretty well. And like doing my makeup on the way down there because I'm like chugging coffee. But yeah, I think we still had to get up at like 4 in the morning.
yeah, something really ridiculously early.
Yeah. Get down, and it was so cold, and I was so freezing. My feet were like ice cubes by the end of it.
And that was hard because I was having to frame it while also acting in it, while there were people starting to arrive at the beach for sunrise. And fun fact is that we couldn't find a rope. So what we did was, if you look really closely and freeze the frame, it is actually a 1/4-inch mic cable. And so I was like, okay, what's black? And it'll look like a rope. And I was able to hold the actual ends of the cable just in my hand to hide it. But
Yeah.
that was, fun inside fact. So what was your favorite aspect about shooting it?
I mean, the little action sequence, like it was just fun.
Same.
Yeah, like on one hand, I don't know, the fact that anything above walking as a stunt is like a little bit ridiculous to me. Like, I grew up dancing and doing aerial and stuff, so I'm like, unless you're like flying off a building, like that's not a stunt, but it is. And just doing that, yeah, it was a lot of fun and pushing myself. I mean, like to a certain degree, the stunt driving, while acting, while paying attention, while trying to get emotional, and
a lot of that didn't even make the cut.
yeah.
So much of the stunt driving didn't even make the cut.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It definitely like made me want to do action more, and then seeing you edit it together and just seeing how it came together. So it was like that mixed with the collaboration of it, because of the ideas that we had and like short films that we had laid out. It was the one that I was the least excited about, and I thought it was gonna be like.
And became one of the ones that we're probably one of the more proud of.
Yeah, definitely.
Because of it.
Definitely.
It's cool. You never know like where it's gonna end up. Like because this was gonna be my next question, was like, what were the lessons you learned from it? And the lesson I learned is really that Old Testament, which like a movie is written 4 times.
Yeah.
And it truly was rewritten multiple times.
Yeah.
Even in post-production,
Yeah.
where it was like, oh, okay, what about this? What about that?
Yeah, a lot of footage that didn't
Didn't make the cut.
make it. Yeah, not like entire scenes that we filmed. It's not like it's a long film, but there was definitely like a lot more coverage of each of those little scenes that didn't make it. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And also I think just proof that you can make an action film. You can do things that are stereotypically like in genres that need big budgets or need lots of crew, and like we did it with zero money, literally just the two of us.
Yeah.
And
with the gear we owned. And if
and it's
anything,
not like-
I'm trying to think if like, we put a light for one shot. We used the 120D for the bathroom shot.
Did we?
Did we just put up the shower curtain outside?
I think we just did the
I think we
shower
just,
curtain
so we
outside.
literally used a little bit of the MC lights for it, for a little bit of the bedroom stuff, but mainly just our light bulbs that we already have.
Yeah, hue
I don't
lights.
think we just used the hue lights. I don't think we used literally any light for any of it.
Yeah. So and our freaking slider wasn't working, and the tripod was like falling apart halfway through, not even halfway through it. So it's like, it's not even like, oh, we had like this fancy gear, like the shit is falling apart. The amount of takes that we had to do of those bathroom shots, because it was not working out.
Yeah.
It's something that I've definitely learned like more and more as I've gone along, and I think that it's a strength of mine that I definitely like lean into as much as I can when it comes to writing and producing, is like working within a box of what you have. And you see a lot of other like independent filmmakers or guys that have made it, and they're talking about like how they started, and like that's very much what they did. It's, you know, you have access to this location, like, good, write something that takes place at that location. Okay, you only have that location. I was talking about Clerks. It's like, okay, you have this convenience store. Oh, but you only have the convenience store at night. Well, good, write something that's gonna take place only at the convenience store and only at night. If you
Totally.
work within those confines, and then you push yourself creatively within those confines. And I think it actually is more beneficial to you creatively when you have those barriers and you just push through it, and instead of being like, oh my God, I can't do anything because I don't have all of these things. Instead, you like change your perspective on it and really like, okay, cool, I have these barriers. Well, what's something that I want to do that I can do within those barriers?
Totally.
So it's a good example of like actual execution of it, not just like an idea.
Yeah.
There's lots of ideas that we're like, we could do that.
Yeah. We didn't just talk about it, we did it.
Exactly.